friends. National Gallery of Modern Art, Bengaluru, Ministry of Culture, Government of India welcomes you all for today's event. Manas, wishing you International Day of Yoga. Manas, a metaphysical journey of mind through different phases of life towards spiritual growth. The theme is inspired by the Yoga Sutras and the slokas picked up from the Vedas, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. The otherwise chanted slokas from the ancient texts are getting a dance narrative. Manas presents the creative fire of a dancer and the peaceful journey of the yogi. The choreography has been carefully blend of yoga asana within the Bharatanatyam framework. Today's event will be presented by Yamini Muthanna by a talk followed by dance performance. Yamini Muthanna is a reputed Bharatanatyam dancer who has been trained by the revered Guru Dr. Vasundhara Doraiswamy. She is a recipient of Natyakala Vipanche, title awarded by Music and Dance Academy of Chennai, and Sri Rangamani, title of Birla Arts Kendra, Mumbai. She is a top grade Doordarshan artist and has been empaneled as such by Indian Council for Cultural Relations, ICCR. She has presented Bharatanatyam performances in various cities of USA, UK, Malaysia, Fiji and Australia. Yamini is also an accomplished yoga exponent. She studied it under the renowned yoga Visharada Sri B.N. Iyengar and runs a yoga school in Bangalore called Yoga Sthala. She has conducted yoga workshop in London, New York, Washington and Los Angeles. She has authored a widely acclaimed book titled The Power of Yoga, which is available worldwide in English and Chinese. She features in Andrew Elper's documentary on Mysore yoga tradition. I now welcome and request Yamini Muthanna to kindly come up on stage and start the event by a talk.
Sorry. Well, I'm not going to talk as in, it's not going to be a satsang type. I'm just going to introduce myself and my journey through yoga. I would like to share my experience and a few things which I've understood with my years of practice. Well, I'm Yamini Muthanna. I come from Coorg. You all must have heard Kodagu. Let's say Coorgs come from a very tribal tradition. We have a very unique culture to the extent we do not have too many rituals and we do not, in fact, even in our weddings and in our ceremonies, we don't even have a priest. So we do not have deities, we do not have, we are basically nature worshippers. Coming from a unique tradition like that, and my father being in the army, and we've been traveling quite a bit with me and my brother, we've been traveling quite a bit with our parents. Our culture has been very, the culture or our brought up in the way we were brought up was very, very different. It was not in a very traditional setting. When my dad retired and we got to Mysore, that's when I was into basically a culture shock. I must have been 13 years of age at that point of time. There was so much, especially in, we shifted to a place called Hunsur where there was a lot of tradition in the sense of each and every street had a temple and there were a lot of festivals and ceremonies and celebrations where you have the temple celebrations where you have the ratha, the ther, the chariots of gods walking around. Actually, when we were growing up, we were not exposed to these things. It was a total different culture. Of course, prayers used to be there and God bless, God bless us all, bless our day. This was the kind of thing which we used to have, but when we shifted to Mysore, Hunsur, it was a very different atmosphere for me. Well, I enjoyed it, but when I got to Mysore, things were not very easy for us in the family because there were a lot of, it was traumatic, let me just put it in that way. It was quite traumatic because there were a lot of issues with parents, I mean with my father losing his job and stuff like that. I was in my teens, things were very traumatic. So that is where a kind of a disturbance set in my head. Well, I had to make a choice in the sense of, no, I didn't have a choice actually. I was just pushed into a situation which was disturbing me. So this is a point where my, let me say, a journey towards a quest began. Well, I did not know anything about yoga at that point of time. I was quite unaware of anything of this kind of a culture. I did not know how to pray, actually. So this was the situation I was in at that point of time when I started yoga in 1985. All this set into my life, all these things kind of established in my life. When I was 16, when we shifted to Mysore, I got initiated into dancing in the sense of I used to dance, my mother used to be my teacher. I got initiated into dancing into a very traditional school of dance called, a very traditional school of dance with my teacher being Dr. Vasundhara Doraswamy. To the extent when I started the dance items, I actually had no idea as to how the deities, as in the icons, the idols looked like. Of course I knew Ganesha, I knew Shiva, how he looked like, but the rest of the ones, like Kartikeya, I did not know who was Subramanya Swami at that point of time. See, it was so unaware, I was very, very unaware of these traditional things. So this is the point where it all began. Amma, whom we call Dr. Vasundhara Doraswamy, she used to practice yoga early in the morning. And plus, we had a house in a very Brahmin locality, and right from my terrace I could see somebody downstairs in front of the tulsi katte, as in tulsi pot, doing his Surya Namaskar. I was curious, I liked the way he was doing. There was a lot of prayer involved, there was a lot of ritual involved. I used to always watch him do it, and I did not know that he was actually doing a yogic ritual, a Sandhya Vandana with the Surya Namaskar. Amma, Dr. Vasundhara Doraswamy also used to practice yoga, so that used to be her first thing in the morning, to go for the first batch. So this is where yoga began for me. So unaware, so not knowing what is there in yoga, I began my journey. Vasundhara Amma taught me how to do the Surya Namaskar first, and then she was a very busy dancer, so she was not able to help me pursue my yoga studies with her. So I found a school of yoga, a shala, very close to the place where I was living, very close to Jagan Mohan Palace, if you all know Mysore well. A place called Parakala Mutt. It was a temple with a huge space on top of the temple, with loud Vedanta chanting going on, and it was also a Sanskrit school. It was an amazing experience for me. I was 16, totally confused, short hair, torn jeans, daddy shirt. No, I was quite not the Mysore types. I went to Guru, I just was curious. Number one, I was very curious as to what yoga is all about. So I just took a decision one day to go and talk to Guruji to see what exactly this yoga practice is all about. And in Mysore, growing up in Mysore, I used to see a lot of people, a lot of foreigners who are coming to Mysore to learn the art of yoga. That made me even more curious as to people from all over the world coming to learn the art of yoga, and so very dedicated. You can see them practicing everywhere. You can see them practicing on the hills. You can see them practicing in the chai shop. It used to be like that. So this is what made me get into this particular shala. Guruji just looked at me and he said, okay, let us start. He started with a prayer. He said, close your eyes, keep your hand in front of your chest, and you start with me. Say Om 3 times. Vande Gurunam Charanarvinde Sandarshite Sva Atma Sukhavabodhe Nishreyase Jangalikayamana Samsara Halahala Moha Shanti Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakra Siddharanam Sahasrashira Samshvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Paramarishibhyo Namaha Matripitrubhyo Namaha. Shurumadanma, that's exactly how we started. I did not go to do yoga that day. I just went there to see what's happening, and well, that was my start. And after that, there was no turning back. I'll tell you what exactly transpired. Well, this was very, very peaceful for me. Immediately, whatever thoughts, whatever trauma which I was going through, everything kind of dissolved. I knew that I had a place where I can just be, and just that particular spirit which I experienced, that kind of a spiritual experience which I felt with Guruji's prayer, just had me glued into that place. Every morning, 5:45, I used to be there. And even here, my classes started 5:45. From 1986 till today, I have been doing yoga religiously. Through the ups and downs of womanhood, first of all, and different stages of my life, it has been this practice which has been keeping me rooted into into my spirit. Okay, so yoga is not about asanas. Yes, it started as asanas, and I am an asana teacher. I teach yoga asanas in my shala also. But what I've realized through years of practice is it is not about the asanas. Asanas just releases the experience the body goes through when the mind is going through different fluctuations. So every single morning, every day is a different day for all of us, and our bodies change according to our experience. This is what the Vedanta also speaks about, and that's why it's very, very important to keep the mind field very, very, calm and fertile. And during the course of the day, we being samsaris, and we don't have the luxury of just letting everything go and just going off to the Himalayas and just the bliss of the Himalayan this thing. You don't even have to think of any issues, we are all in the samsaric circumstances. We are all under circumstances getting influenced by various things. Yoga asanas helps the body to heal from those experiences. So asanas are just that. It's physical healing. Physical healing, when the physic kind of starts feeling good, there is a ripple in the mind field which kind of helps you heal the mind also. The thought patterns kind of shift when you do the yoga asanas. So that's basically what asanas are all about. And it is very, very important for us to do that, because that shift kind of helps you step ahead into another level of your spiritual existence. Spiritual, I'm talking about not as in spiritual as in God spiritual. I'm talking about the spirit as a human spirit, a purposeful. I must tell you this. Guruji used to keep telling us that all of us are born with yes, of course, there's this thing about purpose in life. Yes, I'm not going to get into that because that's a very, very dicey subject to get into, because what is the purpose? Where does the purpose come from? How do we recognize a purpose? Well, I was going through this stage of inquiry in my head as to what is my purpose, what is it, what is this accomplishment all about? Why am I still sad in spite of, accomplished certain stages? One stage accomplished, the other stage is like still, oh, I need to accomplish that. So how is this, what is this purpose, and what exactly, how do we know that we are doing our right purpose? Well, we used to keep, I had the great opportunity to have these kind of conversations with Guruji. And he said, he told me one thing, that all of us are born as an entity in this whole universe with not exactly a purpose, but we are born as a source to develop this universe. All of us have got this particular capacity to do that. So whatever you are doing, you have to put in your best effort to it. A simple thing, I'm sure all of us know about it, but realizing that at that point of time, you put in your best step forward for whatever you're doing, and this is going to take you further. Small, these are all these things come under the scripture under the philosophy of yoga as to how to look at life in a way where your mind does not get distracted or disturbed by the circumstances which keeps hitting you in and out. So this particular realization, which Guruji he was trying to tell me something which I did understand, but still not intelligent enough to actually accept it. Eventually, as my practice progressed, as my study into a bit of Vedanta, I'm not saying, Vedanta is a very huge subject, Upanishads are huge, there's so much depth into all these subjects, and it's very, very difficult to delve in it and be there. So anyways, my journey is on, and I still do refer to these principles on and off whenever my mind is unstable. Along with that, the practice of yoga asanas looks very trivial, where you're just getting into different poses and doing certain things. Well, all these things, I'll tell you what, I'm just sharing Guruji's thoughts with you, and which has been there. It's nothing from me. I'm not speaking with my own intelligence. I'm just recollecting everything what Guruji used to tell me, and I'm taking this opportunity to share it with all of you. He says that all of us, starting from the point we are born into this universe as an entity, as a unit, towards the general purpose of the universe, of the cosmos. So that was something which is always being spoken about in the Yoga Sutras also. Along with that, with that purpose which is already set in us, the stages which we have to go through to reach a point of the final, the destination of our existence. Throughout our existence, we have certain things which we need to fulfill, is basically what the sutras summary is all about. And what exactly happens in the process of taking that journey is very well explained in the Yoga Sutras in 4 chapters. So this is basically the entire Yoga Sutras, and that is yoga. And asanas are something which comes in 2 sutras, which speaks about you need to be steady and you need to be stable. Sthira Sukha Asanaha, that's one thing. Sthira Sukha Asanaha, why is sthir is not only the body, sthir is even the mind. Sukh is happy. When sometimes, I had a student recently who came and said, I heard that if you practice yoga, you need to renounce a whole lot of things. Is that true? You need to change a whole lot of things. Well, it's not you need to renounce everything. and all the pleasures of life has to be renounced, and only then you will reach the point of destination which yoga speaks about. Is that true? Well, I actually was a little, I did not know where to start this explaining to this person as to you do not have to renounce, but there is a certain discipline which has to be set in. It's a discipline. You don't have to renounce everything. Well, you do not have to renounce everything. What you need to do is do not get attached with everything. So now it's nothing to do with renouncing, but you should not get attached to the things which are around you. That's basically what the sutras speak about, and it doesn't speak about renouncing anything. Too much of attachment to a certain thing kind of creates a kind of a ripple in your head. You will start accomplishing that, and whatever comes around it you would like to get into. So this is basically these are a few principles which I fixed to myself so that I kind of tread this path with a one-pointed focus. The attachments, which too much of getting attached to certain things, too much of fear of insecurity, too much of fear of what I'm going to accomplish, what is my final accomplishment, when am I going to get there? So these are the few things which I eventually just let go. All these things is like a flashback for me whenever I'm experiencing a certain situation in life. Immediately I recollect the thought of my Guruji who used to speak about certain things. So I'm not going to speak about the Yoga Sutras today. I am talking about my experiences as to how yoga kind of helped me through the journey, and where I'm extremely comfortable in where I am, in the space where I am, in the point where I am, and the kind of thing I'm doing. So this is basically what's kept me into staying with this particular tradition, this particular discipline of practice. Whatever comes in my way, whatever comes in the path of my journey called life, yoga is going to be a part of it, healing me, shifting my mind field, and helping me tread my path with total security of my own spirit. Well, that's about my experience about yoga. And yoga, like I said before, that yoga is not about asanas. Yoga is basically a philosophy. Yoga is a study where you are practicing a particular discipline so that your mind doesn't get disturbed. Well, I'm not going into the Yoga Sutras today, but anyways, I would like to talk about the healing thing which I was talking about. Yes, yoga helps you set your mind to a goal, that comes under the sutras, but what exactly yoga asanas does, which is because that is my line of subject, where I am a teacher of yoga, where I am taking students through the path of yoga asanas to get healthy and to heal. Yoga asanas actually, the scripture of Yoga Sutras, which comes from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Sage Patanjali has not written any of the benefits of the asanas. Yoga Grantha, which came a little later, speaks about asanas, speaks about the healing power of the asanas, speaks about the body. By the time people started discovering the body as such, the physiological part of the body, the psychological part is covered in the Yoga Sutras. The physiological part of the subject of yoga is covered a little later, when the Ayurveda started and when Yoga Grantha, where the samsara's basic traumas or basic afflictions started affecting the body. When the intelligence started developing, people started getting aware of the body, Ayurveda started coming into picture. That's when yoga asanas started taking its root and establishing its root into human life. Yoga asanas are very healing. Yoga asanas are geometric. We create patterns with the body which kind of sources the energy. I mean, you must have heard this quite a bit. I mean, Sadhguru keeps talking about sourcing energy from the cosmos, which is very true. Obviously, I shouldn't be saying that, and he would be speaking the truth for sure. But this is something which has to be understood. So asanas cannot be done any way or anyhow you want to. So many people, I mean, there are various kind of developments which has happened in the field of asanas, in the sense of power yoga has happened, and there are a lot of different kinds of yoga which has come up now, heat yoga, hot yoga, and there's so many things which has come up. But according to the traditional rule from the Yoga Grantha, yoga asanas are a set of geometric patterns created by the body to source energy from the universe, from the cosmos, from energy around us. Energy around us in the sense of our human body is supposed to be this dimension with the 5 koshas. You must have heard the 5 koshas. Yeah, the 5 koshas create a space of the body. So creating an energy pattern with geometry, you all must have heard of the Sri Chakra, which is the Prithvi Tattva, the core of the center of the earth. I mean, in the sense of the core point of the earth, the center half is actually a structure of triangular. That is what the Sri Chakra is all about. It is the Prithvi Tattva. It's also called as the Prithvi Tattva. So it is a pattern which is created with several triangles, which kind of creates a pattern creating that particular tattva, which is like a web where the energy is kind of sourced in from. So these asanas which we do are from the Prithvi Tattva. It is kind of sourced from that particular Tattva, and therefore you do a Trikonasana, you do a Parshvakonasana, you do a Prasarita Padottanasana, everything sourcing the center of the body. Our Prithvi Tattva lies in the Mooladhara, in the center of our body. So from the center of our body, we are sourcing in energy from the cosmos, absorbing it into us and rejuvenating the energy sources inside the body. Well, the chakras which the Grantha speaks about is in the center of the body. They speak about the 7 chakras, but the 7 chakras are not only the chakras. The 7 chakras are like the motherboards, which has got a lot more chakras which is around the length of the body. Energizing the center chakra helps the rest of the chakras rejuvenate, glow, and what do you say, get charged like a battery charge. Doing yoga helps you charge those batteries. I mean, it's as in very layman terms, it is basically, that's how it is. And now while treating the body, not all of them can do all the asanas. I mean, in the sense of asanas are also, I mean, like I said, it's therapeutic. There is a general practice of yoga asanas where everybody can do a certain asanas which is general for basically good health and healing and therapy and stuff. But there are certain asanas which are healing. The healing asanas basically are generated. The healing asanas are kind of structured around the glands of the body. The glands of the body is basically are the ones which kind of keeps the health and a personality of a person going. Okay, so there are a basic asanas, or basic in the sense of there are very important specific asanas which kind of goes into these glands of the body, which creates that therapy inside in us. I mean, creates the therapy in us, creates that chemical of therapy in us. Guruji used to say that yoga practitioners are not supposed to take any of the medicines. I mean, you don't need medication at all. You can produce your medicine within your own body. And he used to, for example, the insulin can be produced on our own. You doing asanas like the Marichasana series, doing the Bharadwajasana series, right? So, and the thymus gland, you can produce the chemical cetirizine through the thymus gland, where there are certain asanas like Ushtrasanas, the Chakrasanas, everything which is healing your cold. So like that, there are a lot of asanas which is kind of which helps you which helps you strengthen your digestive organs. So like that, there are many asanas like that which kind of came into picture while the Ayurvedic practices started flourishing. Well, I'm talking again, still talking about 3,000 years back. Yoga Sutras happened 5,000 years back. Yoga Grantha is even more modern. Sorry, it's around 900 and odd years back. So it all started happening when diseases in the body started becoming more because of the intelligence, because of development of civilization. Because of civilization, there was a lot of, obviously civilization is about intelligence, of course. So as the civilization started flourishing, more afflictions in the mind started developing, and I guess that's, I'm just thinking aloud, I guess that's how the practice of yoga started becoming, practice of yoga asanas also took a therapeutic turn. Now it's very nice, I'm just after these two things which I had wanted to share with you all, now I'm getting to the end of what I want to talk to you about, is modern yoga, which is now taken, great thinkers, world leaders, professionals, all of them have started understanding the power yoga brings, and it is kind of being developed further. It's today's World Yoga Day. I will take this opportunity to wish all of you a very healthy and a peaceful journey of life. Today, if you have deprioritized yoga, today is the day to prioritize it. So this, I guess your World Yoga Day denotes, is basically helps you kind of charge your spirits to pursue the practice of yoga, for healing, for calming the mind, for having a spiritual existence. Spiritual in the sense of spirit as in your own spirit, exuberating through your work, exuberating through your speech, exuberating through whatever you're doing. The task of accomplishment doesn't start with you doing something which is kind of recognized by the whole world. A small little thing like parenting itself is a beautiful task which can be done with a total joy of your own spirit. So it's basically what yoga speaks about, and nothing more than that is what I have understood, and which has helped me lead my life with a kind of security which I have always wanted. So with this, I would like to open up questions from all of you. If there is anything you would want to talk about, I think I can take it from there, because I wouldn't want to sound preachy. I don't want to preach about the subject. So if there's anything you would like to talk about with me. Well, this is my dance costume. Like I said, I started my journey to that joy of experiencing the spiritual bliss started with dancing. It started when I joined in to my Guruji, Dr. Vasundhara Doraswami's classes. When she initiated, like I said, I was learning dance before. My mother was teaching me, and I had, because my father was in a job where he used to keep getting transferred. I used to not get a guru, one guru. I didn't have the opportunity to learn from one guru, so I had an opportunity to learn from different gurus. I have also learned Kathakali. I've learned Yakshagana in the name of Bharatanatyam. So it's been that was my journey. But when I got into a proper school of dancing with Dr. Vasundhara, that's when I felt that I found my prayer, in the sense of, like I said, that I did not know how to pray. We did not have those rituals where we sit down and God give me some, give me the calm me or make me feel comfortable. I guess that's what prayers are all about. I'm just speaking in a very, very Kodava term. Yeah, so it's just, Bharatanatyam is where I found my prayer. And as the journey of Bharatanatyam progressed, as my journey of yoga also progressed along with it, there was somewhere in between, both of them were looking at each other and saying, let's get together. You know, my creative fire inside me was for dancing, of course, rigorous practice. I mean, there are a lot of dancers over here, I'm sure, who knows what goes into a dance practice, what goes into a performance. It's rigorous, it's disciplined, it's a journey where you are using your own spirit to combine the spirit of the rest of your audience, and it's a great responsibility for us as dancers, because once we are on stage, we are responsible with this many eyes here to take them out of their troubled days or out of their existing circumstances and take them to a place which is completely beyond a total bliss. I mean, that's a responsibility, and you come here to actually experience that bliss. So when that is how it is, and we do rigorous practice, we do go through training to accomplish that. Well, that was happening this side, and there was here Guruji giving me complete permission to rest. Two things happening. This is also taking me through a spiritual journey, and this is also taking me through a spiritual journey, which was beautiful. So I just thought, like, okay, and each time there are a lot of shlokas in my course of learning dance, in my course of going into different satsangs in the shala. I learned a lot of shlokas, I understood the meaning of the shlokas. There were a lot of things which was happening, and every time I listened to a shloka, my abhinaya used to start from inside. My body used to dance. Like Shuklam, Bharadaram, Vishnum, Shashivarnam, Chaturbhujam. If somebody is chanting that, and I am listening to it, and I Shuklam, Bharadaram, Vishnum, Shashivarnam, Chaturbhujam, Prasanna Vadanam, Dhyaye Sarva Vignopashante. It used to happen inside me. So I said, well, let me just give it life. So that's how my journey to combine these two started. Well, it's not being accepted by the dance world completely, but that doesn't matter. It's totally a choice. It's my choice, and I don't think everybody should accept it. If they have any issues with it, it's fine to have those issues. But my journey, my creative journey with dance and yoga being combined is blissful for me. And you will be seeing it now, and let's see how you would experience my journey. Let's go together with that. But before that, I would love to talk to you all. If there's anything you would want to ask me, it will be a pleasure for me to address that. Anything? Yes, please, thank you.
I've also been practicing yoga for more than 20 years. So my question is not so much for me as to how to inspire the coming generations. So I'm a mother, I used to teach, so somehow, like you said, you didn't want to preach. I've also found the same problem, that if I speak about it, I get too passionate. So what would you suggest, because this, like you said, is such a beautiful culture, tradition, discipline. I love that word you use, discipline.
Yeah.
And somehow, how do we just inspire, because I find people with so many problems. And if I say, just try yoga, they're like, yeah, you can do all that, we can't. You know where I'm getting. So you're so inspiring when I listen to you, but somehow I feel like we also have to take this further to the next generation or to people who really need it, but they don't seem to get it.
Correct. Very true. I mean, I have recently started a group of children's yoga classes, and I'll tell you my experience about that. That reminds me of a quote which I just read recently, that it's better. Who's it? I'm not very sure who's written the quote. Who says that let's build up strong children rather than mend grown-up people. You know, that strong children, yes, once upon a time, yes, it was. I mean, when we were growing up, we did not feel the need for yoga because we used to expel that energy which we had in us through sports or jumping trees, climbing, shouting, screaming, all that. But nowadays, in generation, I remember Guruji also saying children needn't have to do yoga because they're already spiritually high. So you don't have to do yoga. But nowadays, as we are growing in our civilization, as things are getting more and more intense, there is a requirement for the children to start yoga. I have started, my next book on yoga is going to be for the children as to how to inspire them to get into yoga. So it's lovely that you asked that question. I'm promoting my book now. Okay, so the book, what I'm talking in that book is in the sense of, or rather with my group of new group of students also who are children basically. When I start the class, the day I started the class with all of them, extremely distracted lot of 20 students, I had to tell them this, let us do something which will make you stronger, which will make you fearless, which will make you get that power, which is kind of is so strong that you can achieve whatever you want in this world. Do you want to try that? Yeah. So that's how it started. But I guess you need a parent telling the student, telling your child, doesn't work as much as somebody else telling the child, I guess. I don't know if I'm addressing this proper, but it is very difficult to address the children saying that yoga is therapeutic. They will not understand. They will not understand. It'll strengthen your spirit. Like I was just talking about the power which they would get with the practice of yoga. There is a power which they can source from inside by doing these asanas. And then I did a little show off asanas like, can you do this? Like a Hanuman asana, a split. See how I am using my body to do certain things. Would you like to do this? So inspiring them, this group of students which I'm talking about is from 7 years to 13 years of age. So a little show off on the asanas. Asanas are the best things. You start from the asanas and slowly get them into a discipline. So now eventually what I'll tell you, as they started the yoga practice, it started with asanas and slowly I started giving them certain rules. Like eat on time, you know, so don't eat too much food at this. If you have to eat something, you have to eat 4:30, you will have to eat. By 5:30, 6 o'clock, we are going to start yoga. So now slowly they're setting up that discipline of eating. So yoga asanas, it's very, very easy to understand the philosophy of yoga when you divide it into that Ashtanga principles. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. So there are different stages, and if a child has to be initiated into practice, we'll have to talk only about the Yama, Niyama, Asana and Pranayama. Pranayama also not much because they are already, nowadays there are a lot of kids who are coming with breathing problems also. Well, I wouldn't say that pranayama is not required for the kids. But pranayama is basically to create a energy zone in the nadis. Let me not get into that again. Let me stick to the children's yoga only. So it's basically you have to speak about these things, how this will help them experience a kind of a freedom from too many distractions. You know, if the mind is getting distracted, and they would, especially maybe on their study table, if the mind is getting distracted, certain asanas which will help them steady the mind. How does that happen? Build up a kind of a curiosity. Just do it. I can't explain this to you because this is something which cannot be explained. This is something which can be experienced. Maybe take them to a journey of explaining like that and get them totally curious about what exactly this is. Well, these 20 students are certainly curious at this point of time. My kids used to do yoga at one point of time. But that was a discipline. That was a ritual. They had to get up in the morning, spread their mat, and they had to do yoga. So they used to finish their entire practice from the starting. The practice which we do it for around 1.5 hours. They used to finish in 5 minutes with the shavasana. Well, something at least, something at least was happening. In 5 minutes, everything is done. Trikon, Pashukon did. Mama, finished. Well, it was that, but anyways, I think it has helped. This is my daughter here. It has helped. So this used to be their practice. Well, I don't know, I hope I've answered you. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama. You may have to just take those principles and try to explain to them. That's your daughter.
So my question is, Bharatanatyam basically, is injurious in some ways when we do it forcefully. So as a person who practices both, have you experienced this in yourself or in people you have dealt with, and how has yoga specifically helped this cause? Because, there is a lot of injury that happens if you actually, do it
Correct.
properly. So in your experience, would you please highlight?
Well, I have not faced a kind of a injury from Bharatanatyam because of my practice of yoga, I think, because I do a lot of asanas which is very, very beneficial for yoga, for dance practitioners. So I have, I have not experienced any such kind of issues through my journey of dance because of yoga. Certain asanas like Baddha Konasana, Utkatasana, Chakrasana, practicing all those ones, Upavishta Konasana, there are certain specific asanas through my experience are very, very helpful for dancers. Well, practicing that would help, and also, when dancers start getting injured, when there is slight increase in weight. When the weight of the body increases a little bit, it gets too much onto the knees. The main injuries which the dancers face is the knee and the lower back. So that, and another thing is, as yoga asana practices progress, there are bandhas which we get into, holds in the body. Like the Mula Bandha, the Udhyana Bandha, the Jalandhara Bandhas. The bandhas are extremely powerful. It's like, in modern terms, they talk about the core, initiating the core part, the center of the body, like I was telling you, the Muladhara. If the Muladhara is strong, you will not get to a problem of anything below the body. So Bharatanatyam dancers are usually getting injured because of a posture, right? So that will not happen if your Mula Bandha is. She's a student of mine who is also a dancer, Anjana. So she keeps talking about how do you create that Mula Bandha, where exactly do you have to hold it. That's something which happens through body awareness eventually. So through practice, that Bandha will be recognized. You will kind of start understanding where exactly that hold is. So it is not a pelvic muscle hold. It is not a pinch of the lower back. It is not pulling your abdominal length in, but there is a point at that space is the pranic space. Lower abdominal length, there is a space which is like a cup, a vacuum, where it's a solid source of prana, as in pranic energy. So sourcing, that's why it is so strong to hold the core. You get a total kind of strength when you activate the core. So that if is recognized by the dancers, they can just go on, like the whole, yeah. So it's the bandhas which kind of helps you. Yes, sir.
You had touched upon, and we are all interested in meditation, bliss, success, happiness, staying in the present.
Yes, sir.
The musician Ilayaraja, once when I met him a few years ago, he told me he does not do any meditation separately because he always looks very kind of composed and
Yes.
never gets agitated
Yes.
and stuff. When I asked him, he said, there is no need to do separately meditation. Whatever is your profession, whatever is your job, if you're a dancer, if you're a designer, when you do that and then focus only on that and stay in that,
Yes,
that
sir.
itself is meditative, and then that's how I lose myself and then does it.
Absolutely.
The same way when I once acted with Rajinikanth,
Yes, sir.
he says that he does meditation every day.
Yes.
And when I asked him whether he was able to be in the present moment always, he appreciated the question and he says that his mind is like that of a monkey's. And he says that up to about 80% of the time he's in the present, but he's still working hard towards reaching 100%.
Yes,
so
sir.
my question to you is that you are practicing yoga and an artist, dancer. Are you able to reach a point, if not all the time, but most of the time, because when you are totally involved and committed to yoga and dancing, lose time and space and then stay in the present and enjoy the bliss,
Yes.
which we get to experience to microseconds at the end of the yoga class. But please clarify that of what Ilayaraja has had to say and Rajinikanth has had to say.
Yes, sir. So meditation. Meditation is basically a state of mind. You get into a state of mind, like Ilayaraja sir said, that your profession, having one pointed focus on particular, you are in a state of meditation. A scientist is in a state of meditation when he's discovering something. A musician, when he's in his one pointed mind of producing that beautiful music where his whole senses is kind of sourcing music from, again, it doesn't happen just like that. It is his power to source music from the beauty of the Satyam Shivam Sundaram aspect of Shrishti Sthiti Laya aspect of the universe. He's sourcing that energy, and not all of us will have that power to do that. Some of them are blessed with that power, some of them work hard to get that power. So each of them are yogis in their own path of trying to get that one pointed focus in their head. So meditation is basically that one pointed focus where nothing else matters. It's just one thing which is there. Now, as you start accomplishing that particular point of one pointed focus, later on that one pointed focus also disappears. Then you start existing within the power which your discipline or your art generates. Art becomes meditation. It's not you anymore. It becomes, that's how they appeal to people so much. Okay, so that's a different state of mind. All of us dancers do have experienced that state because of, like I said, hardcore discipline, hardcore practice, and so much of use of body and so much use generating energy from the body. We do reach that point of, especially, see, I'll tell you what, sir, when we are dancing, we are generally dancing on compositions which is composed by some very, very, what do you say, bhakti yogi composers like Sri Tyagaraja or Sri Purandaradasa, Sri Kanakadasa. We dance on them, Vagyaraja, we dance on. So those beautiful compositions which we dance on, which will take us into a journey of that meditative state where say you do Krishna ni begane baro, it's the visualization of Sri Purandaradasa where he's actually seeing Yashoda looking at the child and playing with her, and he's just watching her with his divya drishti, with his meditative powers. So when we are dancing that particular composition, we get into the root of that particular composer and we start establishing that particular scene around. So it is absolutely meditative, even when a singer is singing, because both dance and anything which has got one pointed focus, there is a kind of devotion and there's a kind of a passion which kind of flows from the body, which takes you to a meditative state. That is true for anybody. I mean, we can talk about architects, we can talk about scientists, we can talk about artists, dancers, anybody. So the state of meditation, yes, I can very confidently say with conviction that, well, we do reach a point of meditation through our dance and through our art. Mind is one focus, is one pointed, and we have no distractions. The monkey in the mind is disappeared. Well, if you want to sit down and do, like Rajni sir, if he is sitting down to do certain meditation. According to my Guruji's explanation about what dhyana is all about, you need to completely detach from all the circumstances in your life. Everything, whatever you see with your eyes, everything you need to detach without even, okay, so that is light and that is bright. You should not kind of give another thought. If it is a light, it is just a light. No other attachments attached to it. So you cannot be attached to anything which the drishti can see. That's when you can get into a state of meditation. Well, I totally agree with him, and I'm sure people have different explanation, but this was the simplest explanation which Guruji gave, which is kind of stuck to me. It's true, and you need to let go everything if you have to get into that state of meditation, is what I thought. Yes, Darshan.
I would like to ask the last question to you before you start the performance.
Yes.
I'm just curious to know, how do you absorb or visualize the contemporary art forms or the gestures? Because I understand you do Bharatanatyam and also practice yoga.
Yes.
And for me, when I look at the contemporary dance forms, it's most and more of gestures and poses.
Mm-hmm.
And I could grab some of them. That's all, if I know the context. Otherwise, for you being practicing yoga, I think, how do you look at the contemporary art forms? Because
yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Darshan, the thing is, being in these two art forms which are very traditional and which has got stages of practice. It's like the body is always a work in progress, and we have a scripture. It's classical. Like, we source our knowledge from the texts. So we don't go beyond the text. We just stick to it, and it's something which and these particular texts kind of grow into us. When you look at the contemporary dancers, they are kind of produced, they do not have a reference like that. They are doing what the body is making them do. Like, they're just freeing their body and trying to do all kind of movements which the body is kind of making, with the music it's happening. So I am also not a great, I do not follow the process which a contemporary dancer goes through, because I have not experienced it myself. But I am like you, I am also very confused watching a contemporary dance performance, and I have also tried asking a few contemporary dancers as to saying, what exactly were you trying to express in it? I was trying to express my mind. Yes, in the mind what? Why was that particular pose like this for some time? What exactly were you trying to do? But none of the contemporary dancers have been able to explain that to me, and what made them make that move. I am not too, I think I'm not in a position to answer that question. But I can talk about Bharatanatyam and yoga. It comes from the text, which is kind of very well researched and practiced for ages, which is actually, everything is there for us to follow. And our own work put into following that, the text, kind of is what it is, what you see in a Bharatanatyam performance. And the work we put into it shows our skill, of expressing those scriptures much better. I don't know if I've answered your question.
So actually what happens in art, we start learning with the rules, and we break it when we do an abstract.
Correct.
So can it happen in Bharatanatyam, because you know all the rules, and now you're breaking it? Can that happen in Bharatanatyam?
Can happen, but the root of the dancer, if the root is Bharatanatyam, and she would want to say, now what I am doing, my root is Bharatanatyam, and I am exploring my knowledge of Bharatanatyam to express my experience of yoga. I am in this particular dance, which I am going to show you today, is about my mind, as to how my mind kind of evolved with the practice of yoga and dance. So I took I am dancing this within the framework of Bharatanatyam. I am not going beyond Bharatanatyam. I am not going to use any contemporary movements in my body which is going to go out of the Bharatanatyam repertoire. And I am going to explain what yoga has done to me, and certain principles which is kind of very strongly set inside my mind, which is helping me go through this journey of life. And I seek the what do you say, the blessings of the universe to help me through this journey well. So this is my concept of what I'm going to present today. A proper repertoire in a Bharatanatyam program or a margam, certain compositions are being danced where the dancer is going to put her individual experience of those compositions into it. Okay, so that's the Bharatanatyam way. And the question, to answer your question, I have taken the liberty of not dancing something which has already been composed. I am taking the liberty of showing what I have experienced with my knowledge of dance as in Bharatanatyam. So this is basically how, did I do? Okay. That was too intense.
I think.
Sorry?
I think we'll start off with the
performance.
performance.
Yeah, we'll start
now.
the performance. Yeah. Yeah, we can talk later.
So when you are doing yoga, like you understand how you connect the breath and things like that, it takes you much deeper and it gives you a different spiritual experience.
Correct.
altogether.
Correct.
And then you also are a performer.
Yes.
You are a Bharatanatyam. And wherever there is an art form, you have an audience and you require that appreciation and all these things.
Correct. Yes.
So how do you blend that? Because at some point you always feel like it's only for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like, how do you connect that completely?
No, a performing art, even in the Natya Shastra, it is written for the eyes of the audience. Actually, it's eyes of the audience, and when the eyes of the audience are connected to us, and we are connected to it, and that's the scope of a dancer. If the audience are not connected to the dancers, she's still got a lot of work to do.
So there's a surrender to the audience?
Absolutely, surrender to the spirit of the audience, and taking all of us are together when a performance is happening. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I always have that.
Yes. So it's the same.
Do you highly recommend every performer to do yoga?
Yes, I do. I'm going to start now. Manas. Okay, before that I would like to explain what this is all about. I'm starting with paying my respects to my guru, all the gurus, and then after paying respects with the Shrishti Sthiti Laya aspect of the guru, I'm going to take it to the next stage where a guru who exists within us, basically without a form, but there is a guide in our head which takes us through. So that's my first one. The second one, I'm going to connect to the nature with the Panchabhutas. The third one, I'm going to connect to the light of knowledge within us. I'm going to connect to the spirit of the birth of a being and the role of a mother to bring that being into existence. Then I'm going to get into the next aspect of it, which is when your intelligence start developing, it's very, very important to recognize the Maya aspect of it, which comes from the Bhagavad Gita. So all these shlokas are picked up from Vedas, Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. There are notes and there are compare points in between. It's kind of self-explanatory. We can talk about it after the performance if you would want to. Thank you.
The Guru is the creator, the Brahma. He is the preserver, Vishnu. He is the destroyer, Maheshwari. I bow unto you, O Divine Guru. Thou art pure and formless, untainted, and forever awake in our intelligence, the Manas.
तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः गुरवे
In Him exists the universe. In Him they all originate. He is the earth, Bhumi. He is the Agni, fire. He is the wind, Vayu. He is the water, Jala. He is the sky, Akasha. He is the universe. Salutations to Him, who is the soul of all existence.
यस्मिन् सर्वे यतः सर्वे यग सर्वे सर्वतक्षयः यक्ष सर्वमयो देवस्तमै सर्वात्मने नमः सर्वात्मने नमः ब्रह्मस्वरूप ब्रह्मज्ञा ब्रह्मभावे च तत्परः ब्रह्मबीजस्वरूपेण जगद्विजा नमोऽस्तु ते ब्रह्मबीजस्वरूपेण जगद्विजा नमोऽस्तु ते जगद्विजा नमोऽस्तु ते जगद्विजा नमोऽस्तु ते
If the dazzling effulgence of 1,000 suns were to blaze out, instantaneously in the sky, that would be the splendor of that mighty being, by whose brilliant light the whole universe is illuminated. May this brightness enlighten the self.
दिवि सूर्या सहस्रस्य भवेद्युगपदुत्थिता यदि भागो सदशि स्याद्भास तस्य महात्मनः स्याद्भास तस्य महात्मनः प्रकाशात्मिकाय सखाय प्रकाशना प्रभाकरा प्रकाशयाति यो विश्वम् प्रकाशोऽयं प्रकाशोऽयो अरुणाय नमः ॐ शरण्याय नमः ॐ आदित्याय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः विश्वरूपाय नमः ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः ॐ सुशीलाय नमः ॐ उज्ज्वलाय नमः निर्जराय नमः ॐ शान्ताय नमः ॐ
Mother, Thou art the receptacle of all, Thou the bearer of the burden of life. You are the greatest teacher. Thou dost control all. Thou art the embodiment of all power. Do Thou protect us from all fear. O Thou, my Saviour from all ills. Salutations and prostrations unto Thee.
अगम्ये जगदा माघे महेश्वरी वरांगने आशेष रूपे रूपस्ते जगदात्री नमोस्तुते जगधात्री नमोस्तुते सर्वगते दुर्गे जगदात्री नमोस्तुते जगदात्री नमोस्तुते जगदात्री नमोस्तुते
They The wise people speak of the indestructible Ashwatha tree as having its roots above and the branches below, whose leaves are the Vedas. He who knows it, he alone is the knower of the Vedas and the enlightened one. O Guru, you are Maya, astounding all the secrets of your miracles. Your true form is not here perceived as such, neither its end nor its origin. May the magnificent self, the one which within a split of a second, like a spider, spontaneously camouflages himself with the threads generated out of his own inherent power, grant us union with the threads of knowledge. We surrender to you, we surrender to you. O invincible Guru, O invincible Guru, guide us from the unreal, lead us to the real. From the darkness, lead us to light. From death, lead us to immortality.
I now request the director, Nazneen Banu, to kindly come up on stage and thank Yamini Muthanna for this spellbounding performance and a rare opportunity to look at Bharatanatyam and yoga together.
Well, Yamini, I think we met first at the Gandhian Center of Science and Human Values, and we are on both the executive committee members together. So that's how my association with Yamini began. And yeah, when the government of India is talking too much about yoga, not only nationally but internationally, yoga is something which India contributed to the globe, I must say. And you know, when we were to celebrate this yoga day, and the first name that struck me was Yamini. So I was on leave, and I told Darshan that why don't you speak to Yamini if she would be. So first of all, I would like to thank you very much. And I know you are a very busy person, and despite your busy schedule, you accepted our request, and you gave us a beautiful, beautiful performance today. As somebody said, it was indeed very meditative. And you spoke so candid. It was such a candid chat. You know, I could almost connect to each and every sentence that you were trying to say, and also to those, what you were not able to put into the words, but you were trying to explain. I could, connect to almost everything what you said. And then how you explained your journey, your encounter with yoga, and what you gained from yoga, and what you were trying to tell us, as you have to experience it. Telling it won't help us, And then whatever you spoke, you depicted with, the complete, we almost about half an hour chat and the question answer, everything, every bit of it, and even what you could not, explain it into the words was there in the performance. So it was an overall, complete performance in itself. And that's how, all of us, we stood up and we gave a standing ovation to you. You truly, truly deserve that. And thank you very much. A big round of applause for Yamini. And I must apprise the audience that Yamini would be with us shortly this next week as well. On 28th, we are having a talk on the spiritual heritage of India by the retired ambassador Ellen Nazareth. And Yamini has, again accepted our request to be there and give a... Yeah. So, and one thing which I really like, and which I'll be carrying, which is my takeaway from this, is the purity of the art form, the purity of the thought process, and that all the solution lies within us. You don't have to look out, you have to look in. To look in for all anything and everything, whether it is physical, whether it is mental, it is psychological. So you have to look within for all the solutions. So thank you, Yamini, and we would like to present a small memento from NGMA to you for this beautiful.
On behalf of National Gallery of Modern Art, I extend the thanks for Yamini Muthanna to be here, and all of you to be here and be part of the International Yoga Day.